Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to some more CGL playoff action. We've got a matchup to decide our last losers quarterfinalist here in our open tier of the EU console bracket. Two teams that actually got booted in the first round of the midseason tournament, fighting for their lives today on the stream, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's EMC Chimera. It's Oblivion T6. Tonight, I am joined by the incredible Megalas. How are you feeling?
I'm doing great, and honestly, that's not the only similarity these two teams have, that midseason sort of loss early. If we take a look at the bracket, they're actually here for the same reason. They both lost a Nailbiter 5 map against Smelvin Industries. EMC Chimera lost in round 1 and had to make a lower bracket gauntlet run so far, but they've been doing it well, taking 3 teams to the guillotine. Meanwhile, Oblivion T6, they're new to the lower bracket, but they still have tons to prove. And I mean, based off the fact that both these teams played Smelvin Industries, a clearly very good team close, I expect this to be just an absolute slobber knocker of a match.
Yeah, I mean, that Smelvin team is no slouch at all. Very, very good team. They made the grand finals of the mid-season tournament, and I mean, that's one of the best teams, I think, in this EU bracket. And I mean, to be able to take it that team, you know, with just incredible 5 maps both times. Both of these teams, both Oblivion and EMC, you know, I'm looking for a great match here, but you know what? We might as well see the people that are playing in the match. We've got EMC Chimera's lineup as we come into the game. It'll be Coffee, Psychoka on the DPS, Ekaj on the tank and Cutaway, and MCG on the support. A very, very talented team coming in here for EMC Chimera. And let's see their challengers.
Yeah, of course, you got to have an opponent for this match. And Oblivion T6, they brought the entire lineup. They're ready to play. You got Cute Genji Boy and Geralt rocking those DPS picks. Lemon on the tank, showing you what's what. And of course, the support's the ones carrying it all. It's going to be Jacko and Joy Boy. And both these teams, you know, from what we've seen, this is kind of the rosters that they want to field. It's not like somebody's playing on a sub or an alt or anything like that. No, these are the heavy hitters for both these rosters. So I expect, again, this game's just going to be very intense, and I expect it to go very quick either way.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams, they have earned their right to be here. We are in the parts of the playoffs. I mean, we're getting to, top 6, almost top 4, right? This is just every team in this playoff right now, they're a great team, right? There are no bad teams, bad in quotations left. I mean, these teams, I'm excited, man. It's just gonna be such a great time coming late in this in the playoff. I don't know. Okay, so we do have our first map pick, and if you're betting money on these maps here in CGL, you'll win a lot of money if you bet on Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, and I mean, we've highlighted before on several different casts. I think every caster's probably talked about it. Lijiang, it's a very comfortable map, right? Regardless of what team you are, you've played Lijiang Tower a lot. You know sort of what comps are good, what you might want to play if you're trying to whip something up, be a little bit crazy with it. But most importantly, it's just that level of comfort and level of practice that comes with Lijiang Tower, so it's never a surprise to see it selected for our control map here. But yeah, I mean, these teams could be running out on a variety of different comps. There's always the talk of the prevalent Sigma comp being this quote-unquote meta, but there's definitely been ways to kind of work around it at different skill levels, depending on what's being played on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, and when you think about Lijiang Tower, you don't think about the Sigma, despite that being the most comfortable composition. You think of, a lot of Rush, right? I mean, I think I haven't obviously seen as much Reinhardt recently, but I have seen it. If it's going to be pulled out, it'll probably be pulled out on Lijiang Tower, Control Center, Night Market even. But I really am kind of expecting the Sigma from these two teams. I haven't gotten to watch either of these teams in a minute. So I mean, I know you said you casted the T6 game yesterday, right? Or was
no, I've been
AFMT,
so
no.
Yeah, that was AFMT, but I have been following Chimera. I've gotten the pleasure of cast a lot of their games through this kind of bracket run they've been on, and they're a very interesting team. From what I remember, it's kind of, they're willing to bend people to their style, right? They're not going to be this kind of cave flexing onto all these different picks. They like to play their compositions, and if it doesn't work out, then they'll just simply slam their head into the wall to make it work. And there's got to be some merit into that, but if I'm not mistaken, we are actually getting into our first point here, which is Control Center, by the look of it. And gotta say, it's gonna be a very interesting Control Center here once we see these comps. I know you talked about the Reinhardt. If you were to see it on Lijiang Tower, it would be this point. But I'm expecting if you're gonna variate off of these meta comps, it's gonna be towards maybe an Orisa. But both the teams not playing around in spawn. We've got the Sigma highlighted for Oblivion T6, but EMC Chimera, they are on that Orisa pick.
Yeah, I mean, I had thought about it, just completely ignored it in my brain for some reason, just because I don't really like Orisa that much. But yeah, not a bad shout here for EMC Chimera. It could definitely work against the Sigma. I do think that the compositionally, what Oblivion T6 is doing is generally a little bit better, but they have a lot of damage for the side of EMC Chimera. So we'll see what we got as we come into this first fight. Psychoka already starting out hot with a pick on to Jacko, and a bit of a flank here from Psychoka on that Mei, and just like that, EMC Chimera with that overwhelming damage, they're going to take the first fight and flip.
So besides the tank difference, the thing to note is going to be this Sojourn versus Bastion kind of difference, right? Sojourn, it gives you the potential for quick picks with the rail, but the Bastion, it's just more consistent damage over the long run. But what you're going to be looking for damage now is Psychoka actually almost built up to a Blizzard already, I'm just noticing. Could be massive for this next fight.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, 45 seconds into a round, 90% to the Blizzard. Oblivion T6. There's absolutely no way that they're ready for this Blizzard here. It just doesn't even matter. Psychoka's dead. Got caught out of being a little bit too aggressive in the face of Lemon. And Lemon is the one that keeps on giving here. But, I mean, Oblivion T6, they've lost 2 here. It's a 2-for-2 trade for these teams. And, I mean, with that pick onto Getaway, you think that Oblivion T6 wants to keep getting aggressive here, and they will, despite the overwhelming advantage that Psychoka had on that Blizzard. I mean, it's just going to come out and be completely useless.
Yes, indeed, but that whole time EMC Chimera was in control of the point, able to get themselves 59%. And so far it's been a slightly even ult trade, both Blizzards invested, and then it's just the sound barrier used for Oblivion T6, EMC Chimera instead using the amplification matrix. So expecting Jacko to pop this one super early to try to give his team an advantage.
Here we go. Ekaj wants to use that Terror Surge will. A good immortality field to keep the Orisa alive, in Psychoka with another snipe onto Jacko across the map. Here comes the sound barrier in response to the overclock, and Lemon is so low. They'll get the follow-up onto Ton Mikita on that Bastion through the flux damage, but it won't be enough. And I mean, EMC Chimera, it's just Jwiz left alive here. And with Jwiz going down, EMC Chimera will get the flip here.
Yes, indeed. A little bit of harassment coming out from the side of Oblivion, as potentially trying to engage this quickly could be with another Blizzard from Jwiz.
Here we go. EMC Chimera increases their lead here on the point as the Amp Matrix comes out from Cutaway. They're going to push Oblivion T6 back here as Psychoka has come back on the Tracer. And Elliot, that's one of the things that you got to watch out for, is Elliot with a full charge railgun rips Psychoka's head off. So without their Tracer, they've got a little bit less pressure on the back line, and they're going to take full advantage of it. Ekaj really wanted that pick onto Elliot, but nothing coming there for the Orisa. And Oblivion T6, they rip it right back.
And they do it crucially without having to invest any ults. It starts with that pick onto Psychoka on the Tracer, and they're able to just use raw damage, raw cooldown. So now Oblivion T6 could be ticking up here towards a final fight situation with pretty much every ultimate in the bank. It gives them a very good standing ground to try to win this one outright.
One more fight here for these teams. EMC Chimera get frozen up. A couple of people frozen by an incredible Blizzard from Jwiz. No ice block, but I mean, Jwiz doesn't even need it. Completely fine in the face of death there of Ekaj, and Psychoka caught on the tail end there. That might be it if they can't get a touch. And
yeah, the Bastion already down.
That probably does it. MCG gets the touch, and with the return of Ekaj, I mean, there's just no way to avoid that for Ekaj, unfortunately. And Elliot showing that incredible aim on the Sojourn, puts it away for Oblivion T6 3 right at the end. They take a hotly contested round.
Hotly contested, but in the end, they were able to kind of just like mechanically diff the other side of EMC Chimera. And, you know, you kind of have to start to wonder maybe if it's the potential of the Sojourn combined with the Sigma is what gave them that edge here. The Bastion I don't think is necessarily too big of an issue because it can force cooldowns. It can still put out a lot of damage. But the Orisa, it starts to become less viable once you're outside of that control center. But seeing that EMC might want to run it here is a super interesting strat.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to stick to their guns here. Our EMC Chimera. Kelton hitting a bit of a rollout, not able to get through the window, can't get that clip just yet. But EMC Chimera, they're on the point thanks to Ton's teleporter, and they're able to burn it down Lemon pretty easily. Ekaj sends Jacko flying, and Oblivion T6, they're hurting in this fight, and EMC Chimera, once again, they're going to take the first flip.
And something that kind of gets forgotten about, because Symmetra did get some HP nerfs recently, is she can still ramp up her damage incredibly fast, as you saw there from Domiki, and just absolutely what you need in those fights. You need them to happen quick for the side of EMC Chimera, because if you draw them out, let this Sigma do more and more work with these Hyperspheres, it's just never going to go in your favor.
Oblivion T6 already back in the fray, able to get into the Immortality Field, and Psychoka once again caught out by the damage of Lemon's Hyperspheres. I mean, been caught out a couple of times getting a little bit too aggressive on the Sigma, and without the Mei, without that extra damage to slow down, I mean, Oblivion T6, they're just going to overwhelm.
Yes, indeed, and they overwhelm. But again, just like that last fight for them on Control Center, they did it without having to invest anything. So now they're going to be coming up on yet another very stacked ult bank, and we've seen already how methodical they can be about using these, never having to overcommit. It could spell disaster for EMC Chimera for at least the next two pushes.
Here is a blizzard, and what a blizzard it is! Psychoka and Cutaway frozen up, and Jaywiz puts it away just like that. I mean, a great ultimate there. They killed Keldon, but, you know, they're not going to hurt that bad for that.
Yeah, Lucio can get back in plenty of time here, and only the Blizzard invested, but EMC Chimera has a good ult bank of their own now online here. We'll have to see how heavily each team wants to invest into this one.
Here we go, Terra Surge, just get back over here, Lemon! You can't get out that easily! Sound barrier out as the Flux comes out as well. I mean, the Blizzard for Jaywiz, for Psychoka, is going to freeze up Jaywiz, but it's already a player deficit for EMC Chimera. And just like that, the fight, I mean, it looked like it could go the way of EMC Chimera, but Oblivion rips it away from their hands.
Yes, indeed. The advantage EMC Chimera has is the investment. Oblivion had to throw everything in the kitchen sink to keep that one in their favor. So now you can come in with your Photon Barrier for the Symmetra, as well as an Amplification Matrix for the Baptiste here. We've seen how much damage Cutaway can do, potentially as long as the rest of the team's there as well. It could be massive.
Here we go. Photon Barrier out for EMC Chimera. The spear comes out from Ikaj, finds a target, but they're not able to follow up on that damage. And I mean, the Amp Matrix from Cutaway, I mean, just immediately thrown out by a great shot. And Elliot and Jaywiz, they're dominating this lobby right now, and they're at 94%. So this could be, close to done. I think it is done. Yeah,
it's done. There's not going to be a touch in sight here. A quick 2-0, surprisingly, for the side of Oblivion T6. And as you said there, I mean, the DPS line really coming alive on this Sojourn in the May. Being able to rip the Baptiste off of the window there was super, super crucial. It denies so much damage and so much healing to where that Orisa can finally fall. And, I mean, you saw what Elliot was doing with these rails. So here's just another example of what the railgun was doing.
Yeah, I mean, and it's worth noting that they didn't do it alone, right? I mean, Lemon played excellently on the Sigma throughout that entire round. And, you know, Jacko and Keldon, we didn't really know that Keldon was coming in here today. Wasn't on the starting lineup sheet that y'all saw. But, you know, Keldon on that Lucio played exceptionally well. You know, coming in as a sub, you know, sometimes you're a little bit, if you're the enemy team, you're trying to take advantage of the subs, and Keldon didn't let that happen. They were able to hold it down on that Lucio. Jacko on the Baptiste for most of that was excellent, right? Everybody from Oblivion T6, they didn't have any individual player that was like holding them back, and because they were, you know, playing as a unit, they won as a unit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, something that really has to be highlighted, because you were talking about the Lucios, is Lucio in these sort of compositions, you live on a razor wire, going between feeding or doing nothing. You kind of have to be able to do this sort of balancing act of maintaining damage, your speed cooldowns to help people engage and things of that nature. It's just something that really has to be highlighted for any and all Lucio players, how impactful the hero has to be and how much has to be done despite not looking like a whole lot. But enough Lucio talk. We can talk maybe more about Orisa potentially as we are heading to our second map of Numbani here. Obviously, the lore buff for Orisa could be strong, but I don't know if I want to see eCash run out on it again. I think you and I both agree, Fletch. The Sigma it looked a lot better.
And I think, personally, if EMC Chimera is bringing us to Numbani, I mean, they probably want to run the dive, right? I don't see any other reason why you wouldn't go to like Kings Row or the other maps if you wanted to run the Orisa. And Numbani, that's just what Numbani is. It's a dive map at its core. It's one of the few hybrid maps that it hard focuses on dive for the first couple of points. Right, so I mean, I think that's what EMC Chimera is thinking. A lot of people aren't running dive right now, and if you can, surprise Oblivion with a decent little Winston or Diva or even a Doomfist, I think that it could be a good, gotcha pick for EMC Chimera, and of course, I forget about the one character that they actually run out on. It's going to be the Wrecking Ball for EMC.
Well, I'm just going to put a asterisk on that Wrecking Ball. You're still in attacker spawn. Yeah. Many things can change here. But interestingly enough, Oblivion, they're not shying away from the dive. They want to run it themselves, but they're going to choose to play the Diva instead of something more traditional like the Winston or the Doomfist here. Now, Diva, I've been probably one of the biggest vocal Diva doubters, but she certainly has her place, right? You can absolutely be a menace, peeling for the backline, making sure everybody feels secure, while also doing an incredible amount of damage by engaging quickly and getting micro missiles onto a key target. But as we see the attackers walk out here, it is going to be the Winston comp with the Tracer Sombra here, and you're going to be looking towards your Sombra to kind of set up these engages, figure out the target you're going to get on, and get on them extremely quickly.
Psychoka, oh my goodness! Saw blood and win for J-Wiz, and an excellent start for EMC Chimera, and Psychoka, thought that they had something else there and, gets put to sleep. But I mean, the follow-up from Ikaj is excellent here. They're gonna get a tick and then some here for EMC Chimera. A great little whip shot there to keep Ikaj off the back line, but not forever, as Jacko's able to actually get away. That's actually insanity that Jacko's able to just run away from Ikaj like that. And with Ikaj going down, I mean, Oblivion T6, they're going to hold strong.
And don't get me wrong, Jacko definitely had some crazy movement in order to live there, but a lot of that does come down to that peel from both Keldon on the Brigitte and Lemon on this Diva once more. Being able to eat a lot of that Tracer damage is going to be the name of the game to keep this Ana in the fight here. And it's netting great results. Jacko almost has the Nano Boost online. It can allow Lemon to engage a little bit more aggressively if they want and just do more damage.
Kaj, as they wait for that dynamite to burn away, tries to get the engage, jumps up on to the top of the high ground here. Lemon trying to keep the Winston in check. Psychoka does have the pulse bomb though, so potentially once it will get it. A great stick there onto Jacko. You can't escape that. Here comes the nano boost onto MCG, and Lemon will get the bomb off, but not much more as the fight continues to go on. EMC's numbers continue to dwindle, and they're going to get another tick. They'll be happy with that for now, but they only have 1:40 left to get this third.
Yes, indeed. It feels like Oblivion T6. You can see them slip at moments, but their hold is still true. They still have this point on lock here. And Yikaj, it's been definitely difficult for the Winston to try to engage here. Only 79% to the first Primal Rage online. And it's just so difficult to try to be able to engage because of how well this backline is playing together, keeping each other alive.
Mikita sees J-Wiz, potentially wants to get that hack, that virus. Not even able to get the hack off, unfortunately. And J-Wiz able to enter the 1v2, makes it a 1v1, and, you know, Psychoka's not going to be happy to take that fight. Going to be able to get away, grab a health pack, and, I mean, EMC Chimera, they picked the map, but they're having a little bit of trouble finding their footing on their attack here. It's going to be a Primal Rage shoving Lemon into a locker. Lemon will lose their mech and their life. And now, if you're EMC Chimera, you've got to get aggressive. The dive on to Keldon. The whip shot is not there. The anti is, though. And I mean, it's going to be a great attack here as Elliot. They're going to get the Nano. The Nano Ash is something that, you know, you don't really expect to see. And that shield, it just turns enough for MCG to receive the shots from Bob as the Nano Sombra coming out here. The bomb not going to be able to find anything, but they're going to cap anyway.
Oh, yeah, that's just an absolute tragedy because of the fact that you were remeching off point. It means that Oblivion has to let that go, and what potentially could have been a fight they win here, as now there's just kind of this cleanup brawl going on. Psychoka going to decide to leave the Diva for another day, but EMC Chimera, by the skin of their teeth, will get this payload moving now, and they don't have a lot of resources to do it with. It's just going to be a pulse v pulse here. We'll have to see kind of who can stick the Ana is going to be the name of the game, and hopefully somebody comes up big.
And I mean, Cutaway, all alone Cutaway was, and the pulse bomb's actually going to be onto Mikita, but it felt like Cutaway was, you know, cut off from the rest of the team, but the peel is great for Chimera. So it'll be a 1-for-1 trade, and still Cutaway just refuses to go down. The peel is incredible. Like, this is this is ridiculous. Here's the pulse bomb, and it gets 2 for Psychoka. Just, I mean, it feels like Cutaway should have died 3 times by now, but they just refuse to let them die, and Psychoka's dominating.
Yeah, I mean, that was a massive pulse bomb, but as you were highlighting, Cutaway on this Ana, it's not just a matter of you're letting the Ana live in terms of healing, right? You saw the antis that were coming through Oblivion T6. It felt like they were antied every 10 seconds or so there. Truly nothing they could do to escape it. And that's what happens when you let Ana play aggressive like that. She's going to take full advantage. So now, as we're looking towards the end of point B here, ooh, the Winston dropping low.
Yeah, able to get out. That'll be enough to get Cutaway, I guess, almost get the nano boost here. Psychoka's getting super, super pressured out here. Another great anti-nade onto Ikaj. They have the nano blade, or not the nano blade, but the nano boost. But with only 30 seconds left, EMC Chimera, they don't have time to keep staggering like this.
No, they need to regroup extremely quickly as we're going to be dipping below 15 seconds here. There's probably going to have to be a touch from Psychoka onto this cart, which could result in just kind of having to give up your life in order to make sure the overtime triggers here. But a lot of ultimates for both teams as the Diva Bomb being committed to try to keep them in the spawn.
Psychoka will get the touch and the recall. Here is the nano boost onto Ikaj. Has the Primal Rage ready to go, and some great shots onto Elliot, but it's a 2-for-1. So the dueling nano boosts onto their players, I mean, Keldon just gets the better one. Ikaj is able to actually pick off Jacko with the Primal Rage, but the hands aren't enough, and Oblivion T6, they're going to hold on streets.
Yeah, and a hold on streets is not something that happens all too often, so EMC Chimera, I mean, you gotta be, I guess, happy with what you got, but that is most certainly an easy kind of task that is now before Oblivion T6, just to get pretty much to the end of Streets phase. They don't have to even cap it all the way. It's gonna have to be a staunch defense here on point A if EMC Chimera wants to walk away with this map.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not going to be easy. Like you said, has to be an incredible defense here because I mean, let's face it, the defense of Oblivion T6, not only were they great on A, but holding it where they held it on B, I mean, that is incredibly difficult. I mean, Streets is, at least in my opinion, one of the easiest points to attack in all of Overwatch. So a great job just overall from Oblivion T6 as they're hovering the Sigma in their attacker spawn right now. So I guess we'll see what they're going to come out on the attack. I don't know if it'll be the Sigma, but yeah, it's up to EMC Chimera. Do they stay alive on their map pick? Or are they going to go to match point?
Yeah, and I can see them running out on the Sigma simply because it gives you a lot of win cons, while necessarily you don't have the ease of access at the high grounds that you would on a dive comp. It just it means you're taking slow, methodical rotations, but once you're there, you're a very kind of bulky team. You're not going to be removed too easily. You're going to be looking probably to the Ash to get a lot of value off these dynamites here, since everybody on Oblivion T6 is going to be grouped up.
And, I mean, Elliot under a lot of pressure, and Tonmikita is able to clean up the damage from Psychoka. The high ground up here for Oblivion T6, it was given over pretty easily, but EMC Chimera, they can get over here pretty quickly if they wanted to. However, the rotation is here, and the wall is going to cut MCG off from a cutaway and Tonmikita. And just like that, like you were talking about, those slow, methodical rotations eating up on EMC Chimera right now. And Ikaj, no bubble, half HP. It going to be hard-pressed to get back in here as Oblivion T6 shred through Psychoka's 150 HP. And, I mean, they're really trying to keep Ikaj alive, but just too much damage. And not enough healing. EMC Chimera falls. Oblivion only 87 meters before they take the map.
Yeah, and it feels like Oblivion is just dismantling Chimera, not really getting to do anything that they want to do here. MCG over to a Desperation Mercy here. Whether this is going to be for the damage boost onto the Ash or what have you, I don't really understand the pick, because it's just going to make Cutaway that much more susceptible to these rotations from Oblivion.
Yeah, I think it'll be a Pocket Ash pick here for MCG and an EMC. But I don't know. The Mercy just doesn't provide much of anything, really, like you're saying. I mean, Oblivion T6 already on this high ground. Ikaj trying to put some pressure forward, and Oblivion, they're just kind of shrugging off the taser, right? Psychoka's Pulse Bomb, not going to find anything. Really needed to if they wanted to keep this defense as strong as it could. But, this pressure on the high ground, they're just free pushing the card, and Keldon, I mean, it might be over, honestly. I think this map's over.
Yeah, I think that might be it. The card's just going to slowly roll in. The team kill gong rung out. Nobody going to be able to make it in time. The Bob thrown in victory celebration. And Oblivion T6, they're going up 2-0 in this series. And they clearly have Chimera on the ropes here. You're going to need some sort of bounce back. Because I don't know what these compositions you're trying to rock so far are accomplishing you, but clearly there needs to be a pivot or a change, because it's just not working.
Yeah, I mean, right now it just feels like Oblivion, they just have the number. They're clicking, right? I mean, in the fights that matter, they're coming out on top. And EMC Chimera, they had moments, but moments don't win games, right? You have to be able to string those moments together, and that's something that Oblivion T6 is doing incredibly well thus far. And you see it right there in that score. I mean, sometimes you'll have games where, you'll see a 2-0, and it won't really tell the story of a match, right? But that 2-0 right now for Oblivion T6, it tells almost exactly what this game has been. Oblivion T6 has just been a couple of steps ahead. And moving into Flashpoint, EMC Chimera, they have to find some footing, right? Flashpoint is a map type where, a team that's playing worse, they can find a little bit of momentum moving forward. They have to find that momentum on Flashpoint. But as of right now, they're going to take a few minutes. They're going to breathe. And if they want to keep their season alive, they have to they just have to play better, right? I don't have any fancy words or anything. They just have to play better. So on the other side of this break, we will see if Oblivion T6 is going to continue in the bracket or if EMC Chimera can stay alive in this match. So stick around. We'll figure that out when we come back. All right, welcome back, everybody. I mean, EMC Chimera, something needs to change here in this second half of the series. Moving forward, we do have our pick for map number 3, and it's going to be Saravasa. And like I was saying before the break, Flashpoint is where some teams they found a little bit of momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely find your second gear on Saravasa, and it kind of could potentially play to the strengths of what EMC Chimera want to run, right? Simply because so far we've seen them on the Orisa comp, as well as they were rocking the Winston comp on Numbani, both a little bit outdated, out-tooled, some might say, but we do actually have a substitution that might shake things up here. It's going to be Sky Commander in on the tank role instead of Ekaj. So this could change up the tanks they want to play. Sky Commander has the Diva highlighted, but I think is a very known and prolific Zarya player, which is arguably one of the best ways to kind of counter that Sigma. Just walk past his shield and then just start doing damage to him. So we'll have to see if that's what they want to run out on, or if maybe they've cooked something else up in the kitchen. But it's not even just series point on the line here for them. This is your tournament life. We're in the lower bracket. Loser goes home. Chimera's had a wonderful Cinderella run up to this point, and it would be a shame for it to be cut just shy of potentially making a finals.
Yeah, and something that I've been thinking about, they like the off tanks. And hear me out, Junker Queen. I think a Junker Queen could be a really good shout here for EMC Chimera. They want to run fast, and I guess we'll have to see. No, it'll be the other off tank that I didn't think they'd run. It's Sigma, which is the best tank right now. I don't think there's a question on if or Sigma is or isn't the best pick right now. He's the best tank. So I like that EMC are going to at least try to run that generally considered meta.
Yeah, and I mean, it's very odd because it's not like Sigma's necessarily OP or busted in any specific way. It's just he has the most survivability, the most sustain between the shield, the kinetic grasp, as well as the accretion to be able to stun pesky targets that like to get in your face. It just gives you a lot of utility options as a tank here. As we're seeing Oblivion use Maywall first, and they're going to be taking purchase on the point before it unlocks.
There you go, first fight on market. The shield for Sky Commander has been broken, and so has the line. Psychoka burn it down by the disruptor shot of Elliot, and Elliot putting their own little spin on the fight. 2 down already. That's going to be market going towards Oblivion T6 for the first flip.
Yes, indeed. And so EMC Chimera, they're going to have to find some purchase here. Going in this side door, it's not ideal. You're just going to be having to deal with May walls as well as constant harassment from the almost safety that Oblivion T6 gets to play from.
Wall going to cut off Sky Commander from their supports, and Keldon gets aggressive and takes down Tonmikita. So as it stands, EMC Chimera, they're still struggling to find any kind of footing on this fight, and I mean, once again, they're just getting team wiped.
It's almost like they don't realize they're being surrounded, right? As you saw there, Elliot on the Sojourn just kind of going overhead, going in behind the Sigma just to deal damage constantly. You have to be aware of where this enemy team is liking to play from here. And we're already entering what could be final fight for this choke here, and another pick.
Yeah, Elliot opening it up once again. The window comes out from Jacko, and they're finally going to be able to find a pick for the side of EMC Chimera, but it's not enough, and it's too late. And Market is going to go in the way of Oblivion T6, and, maybe they didn't even need the Amp Matrix, but, Jacko is building up to them so quickly that it almost doesn't matter. I mean, EMC Chimera, they just can't find, they can't hit their stride right now.
No, they can't, but, I mean, rocking into this next point, it's going to be a similar ult bank. The only real large difference you're going to see is MCG is still a ways away from that sound barrier, so that could be a difference maker here if Lemon goes for an early Gravitic Flux, but some tools for EMC Chimera to work with to try to get into this point.
Here we go. Sound barrier out from Keldon, and with the Blizzard coming out as well for Jaywiz. I mean, it's going to be a great shout from Sky Commander to try and use that Gravitic Flux after Keldon popped the sound barrier. And how does Elliott hit that headshot from directly below MCG? Just ridiculous plays by this Sojourn player all map so far. And I mean, EMC Chimera, they're just getting stuffed.
They are indeed. The only upside they've got going for them is this ult bank. They only invested the Gravitic Flux. Meanwhile, Oblivion, they threw a lot into that one, now only having the Gravitic Flux online. So nice little kind of opposites attract ult situation we have going on here. And this has got to be their opening, right? If you give up another point, you're putting yourselves in such a tremendous hole, it might be too big to come back.
Here we go. Blizzard from Psychoka gonna open it up. Lemon frozen, and ooh, I mean, it was a great wall from Jaywiz to try and keep the Sigma out of harm's way, but even without Lemon, I mean, EMC Chimera and Elliott and Jaywiz and all of them, that's going to be ruins going towards Oblivion T6, and they lost Lemon first. They just don't care.
They were able to get the trade, and they just had confidence in their mechanics to keep it rolling here. And now, I mean, not just map point, but series point, EMC Chimera, they can't drop another point. They have to reverse sweep the map to start their reverse sweep. I mean, the stakes have never been higher. Sky Commander onto the Diva now. They're going to try to go for a dive setup, but this is just going to leave Cutaway in such a vulnerable position on this Baptiste.
Psychoka able to mark Jaywiz out here. So they know that the Tracer, or that the May was behind them, but, you know, has joined up with the rest of the team now. Here comes the overclock from Ton Mikita, but immediately put to an end there. And with the loss of Sky Commander, I mean, look at that. Like, Elliott, 20-player kill streak. That is ridiculous. The guy's been on another level.
I've been trying to keep track. I think, I'm not trying to be mean to EMC Chimera here, but I think they're sitting at about 4 elims total, maybe 5 if my counting is off. This has just not been going their way here. They gotta find some sort of purchase, but they can't do it against a Flux.
The Sky Commander, I mean, MCG doesn't see the good in using that beat there and goes down early, and I mean, it's just they keep piling it on for Oblivion T6. Like, it just doesn't feel like there's anything that EMC can do as the window comes out. Don't the pulse bomb.
Yeah, this is you're just chucking stuff, communications breaking down, and you're hoping to find something. But EMC Chimera on their last legs have to get to point here as it ticks above 85.
Here is the sound barrier from MCG. Psychoka is on the point trying to get the flip, and Tonmikida's found a pick here on it to Elliott, but with another incredible Blizzard from Jaywiz. Jaywiz gonna clean it up. It's just Psychoka who had to go get a health pack, and with MCG going down, and Keldon, you know, I think was emoting there, says hold that. I mean, you have to, right? It's over here for EMC Chimera. That is their season over. Just like that, an incredible lower bracket run comes to a screeching halt as Oblivion T6 comes in and wreaks havoc on EMC Chimera.
I really thought this was going to be a super close game. You know, talking about what we talked about at the start, both these teams having a close match with Smelvin, but, you know, I don't know if EMC Chimera just didn't have a minute today, or if just Oblivion, they kind of knew, they just kind of had it in them today. Maybe they just had the enthusiasm, the motivation, the drive. Like, obviously, you know, they got a point on New Bonnie, but this is just not close. I hate to keep putting that nail in the coffin, but Oblivion T6, they came to play today.
Yeah, and I mean, EMC Chimera, like I said, like you said, great lower bracket run after losing in that first round. But it's just unfortunate that it ends like that, right? You never want to be. Obviously, losing sucks. I've been a competitor. I know how hard losing can be, and losing in a situation where you've been so good for a while, you know, especially like they lost. It's gonna hurt, and it's gonna hurt for a while. You're gonna be pissed off, but it's about how you respond, right? Moving forward for the players on EMC Chimera, I don't want any of them to, say, "Oh, we got trashed on in the playoffs last season. I'm not coming back." That's not how you should believe. That's not how you should compete, right? The point of competing is to get better, and this is just going to be a learning step for the players on EMC Chimera. And for Oblivion T6, they're going to move on. They're going to play AFMT in the losers semifinal, or the losers semifinals, right? Yeah, the semifinals. So they'll play AFMT in the semifinals. Another great team in this bracket. So I mean, we're really getting down to the wire. I mean, all of the teams left are great, and I do think that Oblivion T6, they have the ability to continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Oblivion, they definitely could be the lower bracket runners now, but we truly do have some great talent left as we're heading into the end stretch of this bracket here. But it is the only match for today, so we'll have to see how that bracket concludes some other time.
Yep. Only 4 matches left in the season for the EU Console Open Tier Tournament, and I mean, we're like I said, getting down to the nitty and the gritty. I mean, it's going to be a really, really exciting finish to the season here in the EU Console Open Tier. So, like Megalast said, that will do it for us tonight. That's all we have for y'all. Sorry we can't keep it going, but it happens, and I hope that we can catch y'all on the next stream. And if you're interested, I know it'll be late for y'all EU folks, but we will have I think 3 NA games tonight. So I know it'll be late for the EU people, but for the NA people that might be here, come check us out tonight. So that will do it for us tonight, and I want to thank Hibby for producing, and I think it was Orange, Little Joe, and Zeuser for observing. Do you have anything else to say before we go, Megalas?
Nope, just make sure you stick around, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and don't miss any of the action.
So for the EU people, good night, and for the NA people, I'll see y'all later. Thanks for watching.